Okay, so this is the scenario, this is the requirement. Okay, just understand this one. Whenever there is an employee, new employee is added to the team, then there will be an employee onboarding process needs to be initiated automatically, and that process needs to be assigned to one manager. Okay, onboarding manager. You can see there is an column, and then this manager can either approve that employee onboarding or he can reject the onboarding. Okay, this is the flow which we are going to do it now. Okay, um, are you able to follow now? If we add any new employee here, then what it should do was it should automatically create an entry in employee onboarding, and it should send an email to HR account. Okay, HR Outlook email, and HR should assign one of the managers for that particular employee. So this is what we are going to assign. Once that HR assign a manager, then an email will be a flow will be triggered, and it will send an email to this manager, and this manager will either approve or reject it. This is the requirement we are going to do. Okay, so I have already created a list for employee and employee onboarding. Now let's create one flow. Okay. Now, whenever there is an entry in employee table, we should create an entry in employee onboarding as well. So it will be an automated flow. Whenever and create an item in employee table, then we will create an entry in employee onboarding as well. Okay. I'll just name this as new employee flow, and I'll click on create. So to connect to this particular SharePoint, I should change this connection, and in which login I'm going to connect to this SharePoint. Suppose if this account doesn't have an access to the SharePoint, then it will throw an error. Okay, we can't connect here. And I'm going to select this site address demo.
Is it okay to explain in older designer?
Sorry, Shiva.
So this look and feel is the new designer, right?
Yeah, this is in the new designer. Yes.
Shall we go for older designer?
Okay, you want in the old designer. Okay. Are you fine with with this now?
Yeah, I'm fine for this one, but not others. They can fit.
Oh, okay, okay, okay. You're almost similar to me. Even I'm a bit, familiar with the old design. But anyway, new design is going to be the feature. That's fine. So you can see there is a site address, and you can select one of the table. Now, what we are going to trigger is this employee table. So our requirement is whenever an item is created in employee, we are going to create one more entry in employee onboarding table. Okay. So now create again in one of the SharePoint. So we'll just search for this operation. So there is an option called create item that is in SharePoint. Okay. So suppose if you're not able to search here, you can just search for SharePoint. Okay. So whatever the action related to SharePoint, you will get it here. Okay. These are all independent actions only. So in SharePoint actions, then you can see, scroll and see, copy file, check in file. So there is a create item. So I'm going to click on this. So where we are going to create in the same site, demo site, in the list, it will be in employee onboarding. Okay. So in you can see automatically there will be number of columns. So what we have to put in data here. Okay. You can see here in the employee onboarding. If you click on new, you can see these are the columns here: employee ID, onboarding start date, end date, manager, approval status, all those things. So now what we are going to do in this flow, whatever is required, we have to create. So employee ID, I'll just keep this ID as that ID. So I mean whatever in the from the dynamic content, we'll take that ID. Sorry, this we will take it as employee ID. Onboarding ID will be ID. Start date. For start date, you can just give today's date. For that, you can go to the expression and you can see there is one thing called UTC now. This function will return UTC now will return today's date. Okay, just UTC now. So today is the start date. End date, we don't know. We are not going to do anything. Onboarding manager, we are not going to add anyone now. And in approval status also, we are not going to do anything now. So I'll just save this. Okay. Now just move this here. Another new step. Send an email. So we want to send an email to HR. Okay, that's what we discussed. When once an onboarding account is created, we'll send an email to HR saying that you should select a particular manager so that he will send a approval process. So Office 365 Outlook, there is an send an email was there. Send an email. Now I will select that HR account. New employee onboarded. Assign a manager. Okay, now um, I'll do one more thing. I'll just give a link directly to that ID also. Okay, that I can do it because this is the ID which will be created in that table. Or I can just give this link alone. Okay, I'll give onboarding full link as of now. Then I'll tell you maybe later how to edit that one as well. Okay, I'll give a H reference equal to, so click here to go to onboarding SP list. Okay, this is an anchor tag so that it will give a link when it sends an email. Okay, that's what I'm giving. When you receive the email, then you will get to know okay what this is doing. And moreover, you can even send this in particular to that item record also. Let's save this. Okay. Shall we test this flow? So whenever you create an entry in employee, it will create an entry in employee onboarding and it will send an email also to HR account. I'll do one thing. I'm going to employee new. I'm just entering Kirti. Yeah, Kirti. Employee ID will be 123. I'm just giving something. This will be again. I'm just giving Kirti only. Email ID kk@test.com. Question is dev. I'm just trying to save this. So there is a new employee added here. So what it should do, it should automatically trigger an flow, this new employee flow. Do you remember how many flows now for testing we have added this SharePoint triggers. Even this also will get triggered. So if this doesn't want to trigger, we can turn it off. Okay, this is for testing only we have added. Now we can turn it off, this one, but still it would have triggered already. So if you turn it off, then it will get disabled like this. Now let's check in history if it triggers. Let's wait for some more time because it is taking at least a minute to trigger. Okay. So meanwhile, let's log into the HR account, Outlook, so that we'll see whether that email is received in HR account. This is in manager account. I'll just switch it. Is another account. This is the HR account. Okay. Can you see that email has received here in the HR
Yes,
account?
sir.
Yeah. Click here to go to the onboarding SharePoint list. Okay. Let's get back here. Shiva, are you able to follow? Shiva and Jovan also?
Yes, I'm able to follow.
Okay, good. So let's go to this link. Let's see whether you're able to go there, HR account. Okay, this is expected because HR account doesn't have access to this particular SharePoint list. Let's go back to the SharePoint list. Which one? This is the demo site. Go to share permissions. I'll just try to add the advanced permissions. So what we are going to do, we haven't given access to HR account. That's why we are giving permission to this SharePoint. Okay, HR account. I'm adding as a member of this SharePoint site. I'll just stop this notification. Okay, now I can see HR account was given a member permission. Let's go back. I'll close this. I'll go back to link again. Now HR account got the access as a member. Okay, so you can see that link is directly pointing to this employee onboarding one. Okay, so let's go back here. You can see. Okay, let's go back to our flow. So new employee flow. Let's just see the history, how it is triggering. So when an item is created, you can see these are the entries. Create an item in the employee onboarding. What are the details? So onboarding date will be the current date, that is 6th date. So all those details. Then after that, send an email. It sent an email to HR account saying that new employee onboarded as a manager, and also with a link. Click here to go to onboarding. So I think you're able to follow up with this first flow, right? Now let's create one more flow. Okay, that is for once this onboarding is done, I want to trigger a flow once this manager is assigned by HR. Okay, currently there is no manager assigned for this record. Okay, let's create one more flow. Whenever there is an entry modified here in employee onboarding, we'll start an approval process. Okay, and also when there is a manager name is there. For that, I'll click on an item is created or modified also. So earlier we selected only created. Now we are going to select both created or modified. I'm going to again switching to the old flow. Okay. Now take admin is the connection. You can see demo site, and in the list employee onboarding is the one which we are going to. Okay, then I'll put a condition. Okay, only when there is a manager there, then only we have to trigger this flow. Otherwise we can't send an approval to someone, right? For that, a condition flow. So once you add a condition, you will get this yes or no. For this, mm, onboarding manager email, okay, is not equal to, I'll say null. Okay, so if it is not null only, it will, we have to start an approval process. Are you able to follow that? Because if you don't have any manager assigned, then we can't assign the task to a manager, right? That's why we are checking this condition. This email shouldn't be null. That's why we are adding this condition. Now start an approval process. Let me just, there is an inbuilt approval process in the Power Automate one. So this is one of the interesting part. Just listen here. Start and wait for an approval is the action. Okay. So approval type. So you can see everyone must approve. First one to respond. Wait for all response. In some cases, you will see like there will be multiple approvals. Approvers they will be there, and any one person can approve it, right? So in based on that one, you can select the appropriate options. Now I'm going to select first to respond. So the title, um, onboarding approval process. Okay. So to whom we need to assign this approval to the? Can you tell Kirti or Joan to whom this approval we have to assign? Or Shiva?
Or manager.
Manager, because
Showing, right? I
HR,
think so. HR.
yeah, HR is assigning to a
Yeah.
manager, and manager will approve. Okay, can we onboard this employee or not? Okay, it can be anything. So ultimately, what we are concentrating here was this action. Okay, this requirement is just our assumption only. We can give anything, but this process is what is important. Okay, approval process. All those details, if you want to give some details to the manager in the email, you can add. Okay, the employee ID. Okay, employee ID, I'm just giving only the employee ID to here, but we can give other details also in the real time. Okay, now I'm going to add an action. Now I'm going to add a condition. What condition? Based on the approval of this action, there can be two outcome. He can either approve or he can reject it, right? Let me add a condition here. Okay. How to select an outcome? When I say dynamic content, you can see start and wait for an approval. Under this, there will be a something called outcome. So if outcome is equal to approve, APPROVE, then it will go to this side action. If it is failed, if it is rejected or something, then it will go to this action. Okay. Let's send an email. Send an email to HR saying that this manager has approved it. Send an email. To whom I am going to send? To the HR account. Okay. Manager approved. What he has approved. I'll just go to dynamic content. I'll just say that employee ID here. Onboarding employee ID. You can get all the details just for sample. We are giving only employee ID. APP approved. Okay. Suppose here. Let me copy the same thing here. Copy to my clipboard. There is an option to copy the action. Then in the clipboard, I'll paste it again. Okay, this is the problem. Sometimes it will be slow. But in the new designer, Shiva, we can easily paste it. It's not coming up quickly.
Okay.
That's fine. Let me add an action manually. Send an email. Again same HR account. I'll say that manager rejected. Who employee onboarding employee ID, it's a reject one. Okay, then I will do one more action. There will be I'll update this SharePoint list as well. In the onboarding there is one more column called approval status. Okay, I'll make it either approved or rejected. Okay, we can update that as well here in the flow. So this is for is equal to approve, so this side will go for SharePoint. I told you you can just search for SharePoint. Now what we are going to do is we are going to update an item. Let's just search. This is create item is there. So search for update. Okay, let me go here and update. Update item. Okay, just give me a minute. Okay, so what we are going to update in the same demo site, we are going to update employee onboarding. So what is the ID? How to get this ID? Because it is triggering for this item created or modified, right? So we'll get the ID by default. So we'll take that ID and then approval status alone we'll update here. Okay. I'll mark it as approved. Similarly, I'll again try to copy it again. Copy to my clipboard. Add an action, clipboard, update an item. Oh, it's not adding. That's fine. We'll do it again manually. Update. So I'm going to update an item, SharePoint, demo site, onboarding. ID will be, this is the ID, because in the employee onboarding there is many entries were there, but we have to update for this particular entry. That's why we are selecting this ID. This is like a condition. Okay. In the approval status, it is rejected. Okay. I'll just save this. There are a few more conditions we can add it, but just for okay. I told you, right? We have to add few more conditions. Otherwise, it will result in an infinite loop because it will again go back here. It will try to loop it because what is the condition we have given when an item is created or modified, and we are trying to modify it here. So that means it will again come back here. Okay, add row. I'll check one more condition. Role status is equal to head to start. Okay, that's a warning. As of now, we are going to ignore that. Um, okay, let me just scroll up, down. Can you see what we are doing? Whenever an item is modified in the onboarding list, we will checking two conditions. If there is any manager name is assigned and approval is yet to start, then we are going to start the approval process. In the approval process, we are going to assign it to that manager email ID, and then once we'll be waiting for this. Okay, until the manager approves, this flow will be in waiting state. Then based on the outcome he can either approve or reject, and then if he approves, then we are sending an email to HR saying that it is approved, and we are updating the status, approval status also approved. If it is not approved, then this is the one. Okay. um, are you able to see this one? Let's check how this flow is going to work. Okay. I'm going here and editing this entry. It okay. Onboarding manager. Okay. I'm giving that manager account. It's a people picker, so you have to just type it. You can get the ID. In the approval status, I'm just going to give it to start because this is the condition which we have given in the flow. If two are satisfied only, it will try to trigger the flow. I'm just saving it. So that means it will trigger this flow. So far, is it okay? Kirti, John, and Siva.
Yes, sir.
Okay. If
Yeah,
you have
if
any,
manager or yeah, I have one question.
yeah, Shiva.
If manager or HR is on leave like one week or 15 days,
Mhm.
how this should go for auto approved?
That's a very interesting question. Definitely, Shiva. I'll answer this question. Okay. Um,
Yeah.
I thought this question will come up. Yeah, good. I'll show it how we can handle that. Before that, let's wait. I think this is onboarding approval process flow. Okay, I'm just renaming it. I didn't give the name earlier. That's why it was there. Okay. Okay. So you can see it is running state. Let's see where it is running. So Shiva, you can see right. John, you can also see Kirti. So it triggered and it checked the condition. You can see it is true because we have added a manager name and also the status was yet to start. That's why it condition satisfied and it came to yes loop. Otherwise, it would have if condition was not satisfied, it would have went to no. Now start and wait for an approval. Now it has started and it's waiting for the approval from manager. Now let's log in into manager's Outlook mail and let's see whether he has received an email to approve or reject the um, entry. Okay, let's see. Okay, this is an HR account. Switched. Okay, let me switch back to the manager account because approval will be sent to manager account. So you can see in the manager's Outlook there is an onboarding approval process was there, and 123 is the email ID which I have given for Kirti's name in the new employee. You remember that, right? Let's go to this employee one. For Kirti, the employee ID is 123. That's what we have given. That's what is received here as well. That employee ID is the dynamic one. So why I'm saying this employee ID is dynamic, you can add any details. You can give the employee first name, last name, when this onboarding started, who is the HR, every detail you can add it. It's all dynamic. You can add it any number. I just added the employee ID alone. Now I'll go for approve. Okay. So until I do this approve or reject, that flow will be waiting. Let's click on approve. I'm going to give some comments. Approved by manager, submit. So you can see in the this action was done from the Outlook itself. Manager was able to approve the onboarding process inside the Outlook itself. He doesn't need to go anywhere. Now let's go back to our flow. You can see that now it is ticked. That means like it crossed this. Just give me a minute. Okay, it's now all good. Okay, so now you can see start and wait for approval is in green tick. Then after that, it went to the condition. It's true. True means like it is going to approve flow. If it is rejected, then these two would have executed. But now the manager has approved it, so it went to these two, and it would have sent an email to HR, and this is the subject and update an item saying that status is approved. Let's see whether the status is approved or not. So currently you can see it is yet to start. Let me refresh this flow page. You can see it was changed to approved. Okay. Are you able to follow this one?
Yes.
Similarly, let's create one more. Okay, in the onboarding itself, let's create directly. I'm just giving employee ID as 38849. Onboarding ID is 38849. Same. Onboarding stay date. I'm just giving something today. Now onboarding manager account. This time, let's see the um, failure one, and that is if he rejects, what will happen. I'm just saving. I'm giving the conditions that approval status is yet to start. I'm just giving save. So this is an ideal condition to trigger this flow again. And let's wait whether this manager is getting one more email for approval for the ID 38849. Just wait for a few more minutes. And before that, once this is done, flow is done, Shiva will come back to your question, like how it will work. If he is not there, how to go for auto approval. Okay, you can see it is running. Let's go to the flow and check. You can see this condition is true and it is waiting in the approval part. It will be in this orange state. Let's go to manager's ID. He got an email. Let's go to reject. Rejected. Then I'm going to click on submit. Let's go back to the flow here. You will see it's ticked. That means like he has taken some action and condition is also satisfied. It became false. So last time it was approved. Now it's a rejected flow is run. Let's refresh it and see. You can see this 38849 is rejected. Okay. Now, both the flows we have seen. Let's go back to the question Shiva was asking. How long this waiting, this approval process will wait? Okay, I'll go to the world flow. By default, this approval process will wait for 28 days. Okay, I think 28 or 30 days by default. Okay, suppose Shiva, your question is like, if you don't want to wait for 28 days, what we have to do? If in case if user has not taken an action for 28 days, what to do? That is one thing. And another thing also, to this is an interesting part. You can go to the settings. Okay, there will be a settings for each of the action. For start and approval, let's go to the settings. You can see there will be a timeout option will be there. So by default, I said it is at 28 days. But if you give P1D, then it will wait for only 1 day for the manager's approval. Okay. If you give P10D, then it will wait for 10 days. If you give 11D, then it is 11 days. Okay. Suppose I don't want to wait for even 1 day. Okay. You can give for 1 hour. That the template is PT, then 1H. This is what it will wait for 1 hour until this guy takes an action. Suppose if you are not even waiting for 1 hour, I'll be waiting only for 2 minutes. Just why I'm giving 2 minutes was for our testing. Okay, I'm clicking on done. Okay, now I'll add one more action here. So update an item, same. Demo site, onboarding process, id will be this id. Show more options. Approval status will be auto approved due to no action from manager. Is this the one you're asking, right, Shiva?
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Right. Okay. Configure run after. Okay. Okay. This will be here. I'll move this action a little up. Since it depends on. Okay. There's no dependency, right? Okay. Let me add it here only. Add an action. Update an item. Okay. Same. Demo site. I'll be updating this employee onboarding. ID will be ID, and in here I'll just copy this one only. Approval status. This I'll delete it. Okay. This is not required here. So these are something which in new designer it's easy. You can just move it here and there, copy, paste it. Okay. Now, so this is the important part. Just listen carefully here. Configure run after is one of the settings here. There is a hash timed out. Okay, I'll just remove this is successful, and I'm enabling hash timed out. So whenever there is an approval process timed out, then this particular entry will execute. Okay, update for item. So if you go to condition 2 and you can see configure run after, it will be like after doing this one it will try to run this one, that we have to change it. Okay, it should not be there. So we can remove this as failed or something like that. Okay, as of now we are not going to do this. We have to put some branches and then we have to do this. Now, okay, so how long this particular update item will wait? It will wait for until this gets timed out. So what is the timed out settings we are giving? Just 2 minutes, or even I'll change it to 1 minute. If a manager is not taking action within a minute, it will just go to an auto approval process. Okay, how we are doing it? It is like after the timeout, we are just updating this item. Let me save this. It's saved. It's again a warning. That's fine. We need to be a proper conditions. We have to check all those things in original environment. Now let's me create one more entry. I'll give test again. Onboarding employee number is 555. Then ID is same. I'm giving onboarding start date. I think I'm giving here. Manager, again manager. Count. Approval status is add to start. And I'm going to save it. So this will trigger an our flow again. Okay. Let's wait for that flow. And with this one, we'll wind up our session as well, guys. So this is the last part. And in future also, I'm trying to take some other few sessions for Power Apps or SharePoint development perspective. If you want, just keep in touch with that link either in that FB page or in the YouTube. I'll put it in the shorts where if you are going to conduct any new free training sessions. Can see auto approved due to no action from the manager. Let's see whether manager received an email. Yes. Oh, okay. By the time we were discussing that, 1 minute got over. You guys got it right. At 6:51, that email generated, but manager didn't do any approval or reject for this 555 employee ID, and that caused to go to the normal flow, and it went to the status auto approved due to no action from manager. Just try to create a schedule as a reminder and send an email. And in that email, you can try to get the data from some SharePoint list. Okay, there is a get item will be there. You can always connect to that, and similarly, we have created one level approval flow. You can try creating two level approval flow. You have already seen how to approve, reject, and a timeout scenario also. Either in timeout, you can go for auto approval or you can go for reject. Okay, error handling scenario, I didn't tell you guys today, but I'll try to put it in some video and then I'll try to update it. Okay, there is an if there is any issue with our flow, okay, then how to handle this? There will be a try catch. Usually they'll put in the normal coding, but here how to do that? So trick is here only. Same. We have given this configure run after, right? So there will be another option has failed. So if this action has failed, then what is we have to do? In that way, we can handle the error scenarios as well. So that will be a different, explanation. That will be fine. I'll try to, put in some video and then I'll share it with you guys. So for any queries, otherwise we can wind up this session. Thanks a lot for you guys to join.
Thank you, sir, for giving me this opportunity. I learned something new today. Thank you, sir.
Sure, sure, Kirti. You can reach out. Power Automate is very simple one, but very powerful tool. When you do some automations in your work environment, definitely it looks like simple automation, but it will help many people. Many manual work will get reduced, and they will really appreciate you. Just two or three steps you can put in Power Automate, and that will help a lot. And for a new person who is searching for a job also, you can definitely put this as one of the skill, because power automation is now everybody is aware that there is a tool, because this is a Microsoft product, everybody must be across this one. So a lot of potentials.
What about power apps?
Power apps, yeah, you have Canvas apps and Power and model-driven apps. You are so there. You will be. That's a it is all integrated actually. Now whatever we are doing in SharePoint, right? This new form. So suppose if you want to do some form
I
which
mean, like, is there any videos available from your side? Any training sessions available from your side?
no, Shivan. As of now, I didn't put any video, but definitely you touch with this channel. I'll try to put some video,
Okay.
or if there is any free training I'm going to take, then I'll definitely put in that in the shorts also there, and I'll definitely email you guys.
Okay.
Okay, I got your contact as well, right? So I'll email you.
Yeah.
So Canvas
Yeah.
app
Thank
is
you.
a very simple one. Okay, you can initially you can begin with, because you need both the app, Canvas app, and Power Automate Flow. Then, if it is coming together, then it's a complete requirement actually. I think it's
Okay,
call
I
is about.
wanted to say thank you. It was really interesting, and is exactly what I'm looking for. Is I'm going to work with the Power Automate, and
Yeah,
sure I will be in touch with you.
sure,
Thank,
sure, Leon. Yeah,
thank you.
thanks a lot. Yeah, happy to hear that. Okay, Kirti and Shiva, you also can try and let me know. Okay, all the very best, guys, for you guys. Yeah, yeah. Okay, thank you all. I'll close the session now.
Thank you. Cheers.